My name's Amanda and welcome to Rainy Books with Amanda. Today I am going to be doing a Manga Monday, and today we're going to be talking about The Girl from the Other Side by Nagabe. The Girl from the Other Side also goes by another name. It is Tatsukuni no Shoujo. I think I said that right. But yeah, so I just kind of wanted to talk about it. I did read this. I read all of it last year in 2021. There are 11 volumes, and there's actually going to be a special 12th volume. I was not quite sure when that's going to come out, especially in English, so it might take a little bit, but I'm definitely looking forward to that. But yeah, and this is going to be, I'll probably say a little bit of spoilers because I want to talk about the ending, so I'll talk about the ending towards the end, so just putting it out there. So yeah, so I actually got interested in this manga because I love The Ancient Magus' Bride. It's one of my favorite manga animes. It's just so beautiful. It's such an interesting story, very world-building story. I did do a Manga Monday on that. I believe it was one of my earlier Manga Mondays, so I will link that down below. I was looking up stories that were kind of similar to The Ancient Magus, and this is what popped up. As you can see, I'll probably pop up some photos, but our main character, the teacher, he goes by Teacher. He looks kind of like Elias, but you know, he's more dark. He looks like a sprite, like one of those sprites from, I think it's Spirited Away. Looks like one of those mixed with Elias from Ancient Magus. So there's that. They look like him, and it's also kind of the same basis. Not really, but a little bit. So like in the Ancient Magus, like Elias and Chise, like Elias takes in Chise, and in The Girl from the Other Side, the teacher takes in Shiva. But in this one, it's very like teacher-student relationship versus The Ancient Magus. It's kind of an interesting relationship. So, and other than that, it kind of differs. Other than the world's kind of interesting as well, but that's where like the comparisons really like kind of jump off. Anyways, The Girl from the Other Side starts off with our main character, Teacher, and he's raising Shiva. They're in this deserted little village. They're living in a home together. And he has a curse. So in this world, humans are being cursed by the inhuman people, that are the impure people, I believe that the villagers call them. And they're the cursed ones. And the cursed ones are cursing the regular people. So the regular people have all like gone to different cities, or they've either moved different cities, or they've turned into these inhuman things and have disappeared or are walking around the earth right now. So humans don't really like people like Elias because once the cursed people touch normal people, they turn into these unhuman people, the cursed people, and then they can't really turn back the curse. So then like they don't know, like it's not like they become vicious really, at least like Elias didn't become vicious. So there's a whole thing about that. So the story starts off with like Elias and Shiva like living a normal life, and then as the story progresses, we do learn more about who the teacher was and kind of his identity, who Shiva is, where she's come from, kind of why she's not cursed yet, and why, because she was abandoned because the teacher found her, and you know why. You learn that in like the first book, but kind of the whys, and learning more about the people that are like in charge and are saying like people who have the curse are evil and everything. It all comes full circle. But yeah, so it's an interesting story overall. Something that I really liked about it, I love the artwork. The artwork is so different from most mangas that I have personally read. I really like the art style. It's very, at some points it looks like somebody's on a chalkboard, which is very, I think, very unique and very cool. It's very dark compared to other mangas, and when I say dark, like it's just very like it's black and white, and like everything's meant to be black and white. Except for like the few, like when you buy a volume, you'll find like the first page is a little bit colored, except for the last volume, it is black and white and gray tone. I just think that like everything was very beautifully drawn. Even the characters, some of the character designs are a little bit, not like super simple, but it's not anything like elaborate, but our mangaka does a really good job at still showing expression, still showing emotion through our simple black and white characters in a very non-black and white world. And then like our story is just very interesting. Like I was explaining earlier, you kind of, when you're reading, you don't know what is real and what isn't real. And this is like a few volumes down, like it's everything, the storyline's kind of simple, and then it starts getting elaborate, and then you start learning, like putting all the pieces together. And once you start like putting the pieces together, I think about volume 5 or 6 is when it starts to really like what's real and what's not real, because there's some tricky people in there, and there's some magic that has gone on, and then you kind of wonder who really is the teacher, and why is he not cursed in the way like other people are. So it's just interesting. It just makes you ask questions throughout the whole story, like why is this like this? But I feel like when you ask those questions throughout your read, that means it's a good book, because it's making you think. And then I love our characters. I do really enjoy the teacher. He's an interesting fellow. He's a little bit quirky. He's kind of what you expect like a real teacher to be like. He's protective of Shiva, and he's just like a nice guy. And it's kind of sad when there's some parts like when people want to attack him, and you know, they don't give him a chance to show that he's a good guy. I'm sorry, my cat's down here and I'm scratching him. And then Shiva, like she's this little girl, and she like knows all. She's very older for her age, the way she thinks and the way she puts stuff together. She still acts like a little kid, but she understands a little more because she's gone through a lot. And then, so I really enjoyed throughout the book. The ending was a little bit interesting for me, just because I felt like it was a little too open-ended. I kind of didn't understand if like the teacher, this is where the spoilers at, sorry. But I didn't understand if the teacher became, like teacher and Shiva fused together, or if he was able to bring her back and she like came back from her own free will. That part I didn't understand. So yeah, so I was just a bit confused on that. But there actually is going to be an anime version of The Girl from the Other Side. I believe it's supposed to come out this year. If not this year, definitely next year, but I believe it's this year. So I'm really excited for that, and I'm interested to see how, I'm interested to see, one, if they keep the black and white animation, or if it completely goes like a little bit colored, or they do some kind of like sepia tone thing. We'll see, I guess. Or some grayscale, I mean. I'm also interested to see how they do the ending, and if they and if it just makes more sense animated, or if they show it a little bit more, or it's just very open-ended. So I guess we'll find out. So excited about that. But yeah, I just kind of want to talk about the ancient mangas. The Girl from the Other Side. If you've been thinking about reading it, or you weren't sure if you wanted to buy it, I definitely recommend. I mentioned this before, but I only buy manga that I really want to collect or really want to read, that I know it's going to be a good story, and so I picked it up, and I definitely don't regret it. I love that I have it all, especially like in single volumes, because I know inevitably it might become like one of those big busted ones, which is fine. I like having my individual ones. So yeah, I definitely recommend if you haven't read. It's a really interesting one, especially if you like more like darker tone, more gothic looking manga. Well, thank you for being here with me today on my Manga Monday, and until next time, happy reading.